What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of SerieAddicts. Marco Romano with Tito Yang here to bring you Match Day 15 recap of Serie A. A couple of surprises during the weekend, some good matches. It's been a while, I know, a little bit late again. We could talk about the Supercopa as well. Had Napoli and Milan play. Today we got Inter and Bologna tomorrow. Gonna be
Season.
a good match as well. But jumping into match day 15 of the Serie A and kicking things off, we had Lecce Pisa,
Pizza? We had a pizza?
1-0
No.
victory for Lecce.
Pizza.
Pisa,
Pizza.
not pizza,
Not
Pisa.
pizza. Not a Lecce's pizza. It's a Lecce and pizza. So yeah, 1-0.
So 1-0 victory for Lecce. This was a matchup between two struggling teams. Um, so pretty expected, low scoring match. Looks like Leche dominated 17 shots versus two just for Pisa, and
Mm-hmm.
only three on target for Leche, zero on target for Pisa. So Pisa, it seems, I didn't watch this match, but it looks like Pisa struggle to get anything going offensively against Leche.
Yeah. They're a team that typically, get by on their organization, on their defense, because it's not like they have, the most imposing type of a roster, right? Like you don't really have any big names on that team that are gonna offensively, create a lot of problems for most teams in Serie A. But I would have expected them if they were going to try to go out against someone, it would have been Lecce, but they went very defensive in this game for some reason.
Pretty good goal at the end of the day, right? Good play from the left side, good pass into the middle, and a good finish by Stulic.
Mhm.
Um, Lecce, let's see if this is the beginning of them turning it around. I don't feel that that's going to be the case. But starting things off right with a match between two teams that are struggling quite a bit. Lecce right now 14th place in the table. Um,
So
and Pisa not doing any better, right? Right above Fiorentina, who hands down have been the worst team so far in Serie
that
A
is
this season.
that's a very rough spot to be in. But even then, they have 4 points on Fiorentina, so they could still lose one and draw one, and Fiorentina would have to win two to catch up, which has been very challenging for them lately.
Let's see if Pisa can dig themselves out of the hole, right? Verona, Parma, a couple of the teams that are with them in the bottom of the table had some good results, which we'll talk through a little bit later. But a good win for Lecce. Pisa struggling. They need to find a way to hopefully moving into 2026 to turn things around if they want to stay in Serie A come next season.
Yeah, 100%. It's gonna be rough for them, right? Because it seems like some of these small teams that came up, like Cremonese and Sassuolo, are performing, are like punching way
Really
above their
well.
weight, and then
Yep.
they're gonna have to fight it out against people that you weren't expecting to be in the relegation fight. So it's gonna be very rough for Pisa and also for Elas Verona. So we'll see how that goes. Um, what's the next game we got on
We
the
had
agenda?
Torino Cremonese. Speaking of
Oh yeah,
Cremonese, dropping some points to Torino. Torino finally getting a victory,
yeah.
um, and against the Cremonese team that has been on fire as of late.
Hmm.
Right, getting results not only against teams that are mid low table, but getting results against teams at the top of the table. So surprise for me that Torino was able to get the win against Cremonese.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. It was actually a surprise. Well, I wouldn't say a surprise, right? Because if you look at the rosters of each team, then you're kind of expecting Torino to beat them. Like you know what I mean? Like Torino has a better, deeper squad than Cremonese. Like if you just look at the names
Oh,
on
absolutely.
the
On the
roster, right?
roster, on the
Yeah,
roster for sure. On paper, they do have a better team.
right, on paper. So that's like sometimes when we say, "Yeah, well, I I was expecting Cremonese to win." We just want people to understand that it's based on how they've been playing this season. Cremonese have been way more consistent. Torino have had a lot of ups and downs. They had a terrible start. Um, but now it seems like Baroni's kind of gotten a handle on things. Uh, well, Cremonese has been playing pretty well. I mean, like I said before, punching way above their weight for a couple of, what is it, 15 match days now? So it's not a fluke, like you were saying in the last episode. Well, again, we expect a team like Torino with Zapata, like on the team to have some offensive threat. I mean, 1-0 against Cremonese, but Cremonese organizes themselves pretty well defensively. So
No,
yeah, good one for Torino.
good game by Zapata as well. He kind of the goal came from a pass into Zapata in the box, back towards the goal. He controlled it, bounced it in the air, and then Vlasic fell perfectly to Vlasic to grab it in the volley and score the
Yeah,
goal for Torino.
it's a
Good
pretty
to see
solid game
Torino
for
get the
Shea
win.
Adams too.
Yeah, which is another youngster that I'm gonna be happy to see in the World Cup here coming soon. I know that he's definitely gonna be on the team.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good prospect, and let's see how. I'm glad that he's at Torino and getting minutes. And for some reason, this has become like the Serie A has become like the new training ground for American players or something. Like, because Pulisic is destroying it. Weston McKennie has become indispensable at Juve, basically. Oh,
Yeah, there have been some successes, like Wea, right, that didn't really. I don't know if it was the lack of space he had at Juve, but he seems to be doing well at in Ligue 1
he
at
was doing well in
Marseille.
Serie A as
So
well. Like Aware is one of the players that I do not understand why he was sold. He wasn't too expensive. He wasn't costing a lot in terms of contract. And then you sell him and you replace him with Joao Mario, right? Like
mm,
the problem with Ware was supposedly that he wasn't defensive, and like how defensive is Joao Mario? That dude is, it's like a paper bag. He can't really hold anything. It's it's
yeah, but
I don't
it's
know.
50-50, right? Because Musa and Milan as well wasn't able to kind of get things going. I think obviously Weah's, in my opinion, a better player than Musa, and again, he's doing well
And he
with
scored
Marseille.
a
So
Juve, couple goals,
hopefully,
you know.
hopefully he keeps it going. But again, good win for Torino. Where does that put him in the standings? So Torino are now sitting in the 13th spot, so kind of mid-table. But good to see them picking up some points after three straight losses. Right, good
Yeah,
to see them turn things around and get some points on the board. Then we had
yeah,
Parma and Lazio, which Lazio have been turning it around as of late with Sarri at the helm.
yeah,
Definitely not an easy match for Lazio, right? They had Zaccagni sent off in the 42nd minute. And props to Lazio for showing grit, staying with it. They kept attacking. It was actually Noslin in the 82nd minute that had a pretty good goal, and he actually had a couple of more opportunities. But again, props to Lazio for getting the 3 points, even being down a man like more than half of the game. And Parma, they gotta get it together, right? You gotta put those these kind of games away, and I think they actually had two red cards. I think at the 42nd minute, Zaccagni was sent off, and then Basic was sent
yeah,
off at the 77th minute.
yep,
So 2 men down, Lazio scored, got the winner against Parma.
yeah. On the 82nd, so it was basically after, like, at least I think one of the sending offs. I don't remember what minute the other one was, but
Yeah,
it's
it was the
crazy.
42nd minute and the 77th minute, and then
So
Nosley scored the goal on the
with
82nd minute.
9 players, see, that's like
9 players
unacceptable.
on the field, and Lazio were still able to get the better of Parma and get the winner.
Yeah, if I was Parma's manager, I'd be pissed because you get to the 92nd minute and you haven't gotten scored on, and then when they have nine, that's when you let the goal in. That's crazy. I
And
think like Sarri has been riding that ship now. Like he's 3 points away from a European spot. He had a pretty rough start to the season. I
they got
remember
some
we were
good
saying,
talent that they're starting to put it together. Nelson is a pretty good player to bring off the bench as well. It was a really good goal. He danced around the goalkeeper and slid the ball in. Good goal from him. Lazio have been definitely playing better. They've also got some players back that were injured, so it looks like whatever Sarri's preaching is starting to work, and Lazio are starting to get some results, starting to climb up the table.
yeah,
Um, Sitting in the eighth spot right now, which is more or less where I expected kind of Lazio to be at the beginning of the season. Let's see now if they can actually start playing even better. Um, but again, at least good to see them get 3 points out of this matchup, which was expected. Obviously, I had Lazio winning this match.
yeah, they might be going to a deeper run, like in just climbing up a couple more positions. They're actually pretty well positioned right now to get into European football. They just need to overtake Como and Bologna, which on paper, you know, for a team such as Lazio, it should be doable.
Then we had Atalanta play against Cagliari. 2-1 victory for Atalanta. Scamacca scoring twice.
Twice.
Keeps his hot streak going, which again is good for Italy with the playoffs and trying to qualify for the World Cup. Good to have another
Yep.
option, especially with Moise King and the struggles that he's going through with Fiorentina, who
Hmm.
have not been able to get it together all season. But good to see Atalanta get another victory. Right, I think Atalanta was one of the teams that I potentially had again, uh, kind of fighting for some of those European positions. Right now, still sitting at 12th place, but playing a little bit more like we expected. Right, scoring a little bit more goals, getting some
Yeah.
productions, and the new coach has apparently revitalized Scamacca's career.
Yeah, he's been playing a lot better, right? But he also came back from like a couple of injuries that he had. I think Palladino is a coach who have done well already before in Serie A with Fiorentina, so a team of probably similar stature, we could say at this point. Yeah, Fiorentina used to be much bigger than Atalanta as an organization, but Fiorentina also went through like a bankruptcy and a reorg. Uh, and obviously they lost a little bit of their standing in the game, but Atalanta also, I mean, they won, right? But they scored first, and then they got caught up in the 75th by Gaetano. And then they had to actually still pull the rabbit out the hat and get the second goal in the 81st to actually get the 3 points. But yeah, like you said, finally we're seeing Atalanta trying to get out of this funk that they have been on, where they were getting like wildly inconsistent results, from one game to the other.
Yeah, they have great quality in the players that they have. Right, Scamacca's first goal was really nice. A really nice back heel
Yeah.
goal. So not only is he scoring goals, he's scoring good goals. Second one, again, kind of a poacher, traditional number 9 goal as well. But I've always liked their squad. Right, Lukman staying. The Catelare has always been a great young talent. Has been
Hmm.
playing awesome ever since he got to Atalanta. So they got a squad. They just got to get it together, be consistent, and stay healthy. I feel more than anything, right? You mentioned it with Skamaka, just continue having continuous knee problems, right?
Yeah.
We're starting to kind of see the same with Saniolo, um, right? That's finally at least getting a little bit more consistency and actually um, being productive for his squad as well. But good win for Atalanta again, still struggling, right? Still in 12th place as far as the Serie A table, but climbing up the ranks. And I feel with the teams that they have, at least immediately ahead of them in Cremonese, Udinese, and Sassuolo, they could easily probably bump up to to start contending for some of those European spots, like I thought they would be doing, right,
Yeah.
this season.
Speaking of Sassuolo, Sassuolo was in a nice rough and tumble match in Milan on Sunday. Uh,
No
two,
joke, Sassuolo's no joke, brother.
yeah, I mean that's they can when they bring it, they got some talented players. Laurienté has been having a really good season. Kone has been playing well as well. They both scored. Milan got their goals from like a right back, like Bartesaghi scored both goals, which is kind of crazy. Um, and
And I
13
think
minutes
we gotta
apart.
give Grosso some flowers as well. I don't think we've ever brought up Grosso, but he seems to be doing a great job at the helm and at Sassuolo as well.
Yeah, exactly. They had a little bit of a slow start, but it looks like he's getting a good handle on his team now. I mean, they went to Milano to draw with Milan. That's not an easy thing to do for any team, especially with this Milan. And Rabiot and Modric both played, but Matic and Kone basically ate them up in that midfield for this match. So I don't know, Sassuolo with a four-man back line, which is something I want Juve to do. Milan with the with the three center back line, which I fucking hate. Um, and only Inter can do it. Uh, and then
Props to
good
Bartesaghi as
draw.
well, the youngster, right? Because even like you mentioned it, you said it, right? They had Modric, they had Rabiot, they had the key players playing, yet it was the youngster Bartesaghi who got on the score sheet twice in the 34th and 47th minute
Yep.
to give Milan the draw. Laurienté on the score sheet as well. Amazing player. I've always liked Laurienté, but
Hmm.
Kone as well. I think when we say Kone, everybody thinks about
Manu.
the midfielder at Roma.
Yeah,
But Ismail Kone is playing awesome as well for Sassuolo.
definitely had a great game. So did Pinamonti. He was a constant thorn like for the Milan defense. What do you think about Gabbia? I honestly, I feel like Milan needs to get a stronger defender, but at the same time, he's Italian, and I'm happy they're giving him like some time to develop and play and like some experience.
No,
Like
he
he did
got
have
off
a
to a
good
great
game.
start,
Yeah,
and that was always a question mark for me when it came to Milan. Right, they started off with one of the best defensive lines in Serie A. The question was were they gonna be able to keep that up? Right, I think Roma
mm,
has been able to do it. I think we've seen some chinks in the chain when it comes to Milan. I think my non Magic Mike
yeah.
had a
Magno.
couple of good games. I think the last couple of games, not so much so. Kind of back to the Magnan that we were used to from last season, where I felt he kind of took a drop as far as the quality and
Yeah.
uh, in between the posts for Milan. But not surprising the way Sassuolo has been playing. It's a team that doesn't fear anybody. They feel they can take on anybody and get the result. Um, but surprising because even for Milan in this matchup again, Bartesaghi, the youngster, was the one that was able to get on the score sheet for them. So it was interesting um, the way it played out. But mega props to Sassuolo for being able to come back and tie the match up and get still 1 point away from Milan at San Siro.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the top teams, and Sassuolo shows up to their field and puts up more than a fight, right? Take some points with them. So honors to them.
Now, now Sassuolo is sitting in ninth place. Milan second behind Inter, right? So Milan's only 1 point away from the first spot.
Yeah,
But again, Sassuolo has been one of the surprises along with Cremonese. I feel this season.
yeah,
I had them nowhere near ninth place. I thought they were going to be mid-table or lower table,
yeah,
but have been doing well. But let's see with them if they can keep it going. They've had some injury issues as well. Hopefully, Laurienté and some of their key players can stay healthy. And again, props to
and
Grosso
stay
because we
there,
haven't
right?
given him his flowers.
Stay healthy and stay there because we're approaching like the January transfer window, and like Sassuolo is one of those teams that always
True.
gets harassed.
Let's see. Hopefully, right, they keep their youngsters and their veterans can continue to perform to the level that they've been performing.
Yeah.
Then we had a was the next match of we had Napoli Udinese. This was a big surprise. Again, Saniolo playing awesome, which is good to see. But did not expect this from Napoli. Napoli, good news now is Lukaku. Lukaku is ready to return. Even though Hoyland has been playing well,
Yeah.
which is even better for them. But unexpected result against Udinese, who have been a team that have been struggling. Right, you would have thought that Napoli was gonna get the win on this one, but Udinese was able to pull it out and get the 3 points. Napoli dropping to third place, and Udinese improving their position, sitting in 10th place right now. So they've been able to turn it around. Had a slow start to the season, but they're kind of getting back to their ways. Physical team, not an easy matchup for anybody, and it seems like Napoli struggled a little bit with how physical they are without the likes of Sambo and Giza right in the middle for Napoli.
We're starting to see how that missing that one player is affecting Napoli's way of play, right? Because that physicality that he brings in, also the dynamism. He, I remember in one of the previous episodes we were talking about like how many goals he was involved in. Because sometimes it's like he's not scoring, but he's either winning back a loose ball or like drawing a couple of defenders and passing it off. Like he's very involved when he's playing. He's typically close to the ball, close to the action, and having and starts making an impact in the match. So I feel like that's when the games get tight, like that one. With Udinese is one of those teams that can surprise you. It's crazy because Napoli had like 60% of the ball, but they didn't get a single shot on target in the whole game, which is insane. I mean, that's how well Udinese defended in this match, basically. Even though they never had the ball, it was kind of like one of those Mourinho type wins where he's like, just have the ball if you want. I just need like a couple counterattacks and you're toast, you know. Um, and Ekkelenkamp, I don't know if I said that correctly,
Jurgen Ekkelenkamp
was
scored
able
an
to,
awesome goal.
yeah,
One of the I think probably the best goal maybe this of the match day. Great strike from outside the box, right? Put it right top bins. So good strike from him. Haven't really heard a lot or seen a lot from him, but
yeah.
that was an amazing strike and an amazing goal.
Yeah, I mean, Napoli can't make a lot of excuses though, because I mean they have most of the most of the squad is a bit kind of back, except for Anguissa and obviously the
Oh, De
striker
Bruyne, right?
Lukaku.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
they got De
Kevin.
Bruyne as well out.
Yeah. When you were signing a player like De Bruyne, you knew like you weren't gonna have him for every match. Like that's something you need to know.
No,
It's
it's
like
kind of
Milan
like
with
Modric
Modric.
at Milan, right? Where it's worked out. Not good for them because they're not playing European football and they got knocked out of Coppa Italia already. But now he can probably play a lot more, a bigger or a higher percentage of matches in Serie A right now that they have a more relaxed schedule.
Yeah.
Um, but Napoli, I think when once they get everybody back, right, Lukaku's ready to come back. I'm not sure when De Bruyne is scheduled to come back, but I think once they get their full squad back, they're going to be very dangerous, especially with Hoyland. He has been playing well, well in the Super Copa matchup today as well. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But surprising from Napoli, all right, because they're struggling in the Champions League.
Yep.
You would expect them to, at least a Conte team, right, to be dominant against these types of teams and in these matchups in Serie A and in the league. But dropping some points against Udinese,
Yeah.
not ideal for them with how contested and competitive the Serie A is this season, especially at the top of the table.
Yeah, this can come back and just bite them in the booty at the end of the season for sure. Like dropping points against these types of teams when you're expected to win them, and then you're gonna go to the final stretch and you're gonna be short 2 points, and this is one of those games that are gonna do it.
No. So it could come back and bite them in the Hellas Verona, which is the next match that we have. They played against Fiorentina.
I can guess who won that
Eh,
one. Like Fiorentina did
can you
not win.
guess who won this matchup? Obviously, 2-1 victory for Hellas Verona. Fiorentina again dropping more points, staying at the bottom of the table.
Bro, at home against one
It's
of the
incredible.
smaller
It's incredible.
teams. That's crazy. They're at home against a tiny, tiny team. I can't.
And still allowed 14 shots. That Verona scored twice on them.
What the hell, man?
And Fiorentina did kind of dominate, right? If you look at the stat sheet, it's very lopsided on Fiorentina's favor, but still, you have 65% possession throughout the game, and you still manage to lose
It's
against a
been.
struggling team in Verona.
They couldn't even score a goal. They had 65% of the ball. They never scored a goal. It was their own goal that, that Nunez scored. Otherwise, like Fiorentina would have just had donuts. Oh my god, man! Like
And
this is sad. This is the saddest. Even as I'm a big Juve tifoso, but I don't like seeing Fiorentina so this bad because we want to play them twice a year. You know, this is no good. This is no good.
no, but last I think the last match day, the only goal they scored against Sassuolo was a penalty. Then Sassuolo came back. This go around, the only goal that they scored was actually an own goal as well. So not a good look for a team that everybody expected to be doing a lot better than what they're actually putting out this season. Props to Orban, who has been playing awesome this year. Got on the
Oh
score
yeah,
sheet twice. Um,
coming off the bench
first
too.
first goal was pretty good. He's a solid player, a solid option for Verona, for sure, getting a little bit more playing time because he's getting on the score sheet. But Verona could have probably scored 4 or 5 goals. Gagliardini had a screamer from outside the
Yeah,
box as well. That was a good save from the keeper, but they hit the crossbar. But 2 good goals from Orban. One in a breakaway, put it around the goalkeeper from outside the box, and the other goal from inside the box as well. Just a great being in the right spot. So good to see him. Good to see them get a win. Fiorentina again. It would be crazy if they can't figure something out and we actually end up seeing Fiorentina get relegated to Serie A,
that's yeah, bro. That's not.
which
I
is
hope
not a
that doesn't
stretch.
happen.
Which is not a stretch,
No, I mean the way
unfortunately,
things are
for
going,
Fiorentina and Serie A.
it's 15 match days. We're 5 match days away from the half of the season. They haven't gotten a win. They haven't won a single game. Like that's not normal for a team like that.
Mm.
That's not normal for any team in Serie A. Like you'll beat whoever's right next to you on the relegation battle. You beat them. But I guess that was the case of Hellas Verona this time because they beat whoever was next to them on the relegation race. So it was just turned out it was Fiorentina. And I hope this team recovers. I mean, this is not a good look.
Who would you start right on the national team right now, knowing like that Moise Kean at Fiorentina? Maybe not
It's not his fault.
specifically Moise Kean, but Fiorentina are struggling.
I mean, it's not his fault. It's not his fault. Like if you watch the game, you see he's trying. He's just not getting like a lot of service, and then his team defensively, he just they. I don't know what I can't even tell what's wrong when you watch them because if you look at them on paper, the type of talent they have, it's just their defense is terrible. Their defense sucks. That's one thing. Their defense is just garbage. And then from the midfield up, I think they have a lot of good technical players, but they don't have any muscle. I think that's their problem. If you look at their players, Fagioli and Andragora, right? They're not big, strong players. They're not gonna bully anybody. They don't have a Samuel Gisa, like that type of midfielder, and they don't have a Barella, and they don't have
Mm.
somebody like a Lilian Thuram, like a physical person, you know. Um, Somebody just beat people around, like just elbow people or just push people. Like someone Gisa dominates like wherever area he's close to, and then Ponea Roma kind of does the same thing. It's like
Mm.
that's they don't have that. I don't. I feel that's what they're missing. Without that guy, other teams just slap you around, and like it doesn't matter how pretty and how technical you are, you're just gonna lose because this game is rough.
They got to figure something out because right, they already got rid of their coach. The only thing left to do is get rid of some of their players. They got to
Yeah.
get some, at least try to get something done during the next transfer market because whatever they've tried has not worked for them at all. Still sitting dead last in the table with only 6 points, three consecutive defeats.
Yeah, I mean, right
Very
now,
bad start
honestly,
for Fiorentina.
what I would do if I were you, I'd be like, I tell Fiorentina, I'd give you Vlahovic for Moise again, like right now during Christmas. Like, you have to pay anything.
Hmm.
But I know Vlahovic is not about to go to a team that's not playing the Champions League. So that's a problem for Fiorentina
Hmm.
too. Because like right now, like anything they would want to do during the January transfer window is gonna be a no because players are gonna be like, I'm not going there if I'm not gonna be playing in Europe, like anything. Any player worth
Well, depending on the
signing
type of
can
player,
prove, you
right?
know?
Definitely not gonna attract any world class superstar
Uh,
play talent.
Nobody.
And they gotta
The
get a
threat of
couple of
relegation.
youngster to fill some of the gaps. Get a physical midfielder, right? Like you said,
Yeah.
somebody in the midfield that can help them get a little bit more control, right? And
Yeah.
it'll help them dominate the midfield a little bit and create more opportunities for Moise King. We know he's an awesome striker. It's just they have way too many issues going on right now.
Yeah. Even just the threat of like relegation is gonna make it so that nobody wants to go there, basically. Um, I hope they stay themselves. Not
And
looking good.
then you talking about them needing somebody like Barella
Yep.
brings us to the next matchup for the current leaders of the Serie A, Inter, taking on Genoa, another team that has been struggling a lot this season.
Yeah.
So not surprising win for Inter 2-1. Not as convincing as I would have expected, and I think most people would have expected. Great game from Bisseck.
And Lautaro.
I think I said it in a previous episode with this whole experiment of Kibu of playing Carlos Augusto on the right. I would rather have Bisek play on the right a little bit further up than him. He's not only amazing defensively, but he's very good on the ball and is a very skilled young player. And then the captain, Lautaro Martinez, also getting on the score sheet in the 38th minute. But typical Inter, right? When they go ahead, they kind of um, set it to auto, and they did get a scare. Vitinha, who had an awesome game for Genoa, one of the few bright spots for Genoa during this matchup,
Yeah.
scored a good goal in the 68th minute. And it kind of looked like all of a sudden Genoa were going to turn it around. Inter was able to hold on to their lead and take the 3 points away. But uh, Genoa did put up a little bit of a fight towards the end, but I think again it wasn't just Genoa; it was Inter getting letting their foot off the gas a little bit. Domination from Inter, 65% possession, right, versus 35, 17 shots versus 6. So they dominated on the stat sheets, but it's not reflected on the score sheet at the end of the match.
Yeah.
But we'll take it.
But yeah, you just needed the points basically. Lautaro had a good game. I think not just because he got on the score sheet, but he looked like a leader, like on the pitch for the amount of time that he was on it. And he was on it for most of the game. But he's the type of player that makes things happen. I wonder how Inter would do it. Lautaro got injured for like a long time. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But um, I feel like a lot of the attack is flows through in like in a game like this it did at least. Um, I know
It does.
sometimes you get
He's
good
the best
contribution.
striker we have right now,
Yeah,
and Turam hasn't been playing up to kind of what we all expected. I think that'll turn around, but everything
yeah,
goes through Lautaro, right? He's that player that steps up,
yeah.
kind of does a little bit of what Lukaku used to do when he was paired up with Lautaro, right? He's the one that's always going to get the ball. He's creating chances. Now he's back to his scoring ways. But for me, Lautaro, what I appreciate is that he's also the first man defending as well. He's always putting a lot of pressure on the ball, causing mistakes. A couple of goals that he scored this season have come from exactly that, just putting pressure on the ball. He had one in the
Yeah.
Champions League as well, where literally he just put pressure in the goalkeeper just gave them gave him a goal on a silver platter where he just had to touch it in from like 3 yards out.
No, that's an
So
underrated
that's what I
skill.
like about him.
That's an
Because
underrated skill, and they don't talk
when
about
you
it
say
enough. Like,
leadership, right? If you see your captain, right, the best player on your team, right? That's a discussion, right? Because you have players like Barella and Bastoni, but based on kind of where he finished, right, in the last Ballon d'Or kind of rankings or the last couple of years, based on his consistent performance, right? When you see a player like Lautaro going all out defensively, right, putting pressure on the ball like that, it
that's
can
the
only
thing.
motivate the other players to do the same. That's what
Yeah.
kind of sometimes pisses me off about Turam. Um, he's been making a ton of mistakes, not making the best choices on the pitch. I think he's been holding on to the ball a little bit more. I think what we just need is to make that swap deal, right? Or with Fratesi and Turam, bring his brother Kefren over to Inter so they can
Not
play
gonna happen.
together.
Not gonna happen. Well, like we don't. We're not getting rid of Catherine. Like, I don't think that's gonna happen unless like some big uh team from England comes in like 85 million or something. Because Juve right now need money because they messed up the last two transfer markets. So there's not gonna be any swap deals for nobody for sure. Unless Fiorentina's willing to take Locatelli and give us Moise again, well, maybe we could do that. But I don't think Spalletti loves Locatelli. I think he plays him because he doesn't have anybody else. But I don't know that Fratesi would make a difference in our team at all right now.
I don't know, but I would be down for it. Definitely, that would be. I mean, he's been quite some time already at Inter, right? He struggled to find that starting spot. At the beginning, I thought for sure he would end up replacing Mkhitaryan, right, and be a starter, right, with
Yeah.
Barella and Çalhanoğlu on the in the midfield, but he hasn't been able to replace Miki. So I think it's time for him to go to another team. He deserves. He's a great player. He deserves some more playing time. He
Yeah.
just hasn't been able to fit to kind of Inter's playing style. He has scored very crucial goals for us, which we appreciate. But at the same time, with that appreciation, we want him to get more time on the field. Right? He's a young player entering his prime, right? He deserves to be at a team, right? Imagine if like all of a sudden like he went back to Sassuolo. You
I
watch
think
Sassuolo how they're
that
playing now. That's
might be
someone
one
like
of the best
Fratesi.
moves. That might be one of the best moves. He gets along great with Berardi, who's still there, still captain. So the dressing, it'd be great in the dressing room. But I don't think he's gonna go to a team that's not playing the Champions League. or in Europe at least, right? Like I would see him probably like maybe going to a team like Roma, Lazio, something like that.
That's the other option, right? Because we
Yeah,
know Inter tried to sign Kone uh, before the start of the season. That may be another option, right? Because Gasperini and Roma have always been keen on Frattesi.
yeah.
That's certainly another option for him. But if I hope that if he does go there, right, he's getting a starting spot, not coming off the bench, and it doesn't become a similar situation than what he's been going through at Inter.
I don't think it will be because it's a different dimension of team. I mean, Inter is way bigger, right? In terms of everything, like where they compete, the level of players they have, the competition is gonna have like the way Chalanoglu and Mkhitaryan have been playing, Frattesi is not gonna replace any of them, and then he doesn't have the muscle to play the one Barella does. So it's just not. He's not gonna find any space there, and Christian Kiwu seems to prefer Dia above him. So he should just move. He should just go to like a smaller team who wants to play in Europe. He should try to go to Roma, uh, or maybe Atalanta, who might have a shot of making one of those last positions. But I don't see him. He wouldn't be a starter at Juve. He wouldn't get any minutes there either. You know, because that's not the type of player that we're looking for. We need a regista. We need somebody who could play in front of defense and actually, you know, create something, not Locatelli like somebody else. But
No, speaking of Juventus, you guys played against Bologna, who
yeah,
has been playing very well as of late, right? So,
yeah, they were on fire. I thought it was gonna be a harder match, but to be honest, Bologna didn't really do a lot. Um, I
no,
think
they
Juve,
did. They were a man down, right, from the 69th minute as well.
yeah, because they made a stupid foul. But I think Juve could have scored probably 3 or 4 goals in that match if they had taken their chances better. Uh, I didn't really see US struggle at any point of that match. They just struggled to create opportunities. Like their biggest issue in that game was just that last pass, right? Like in terms of that last pass was always like a little bit off. Possession was sort of even, but you were the Juventus of this season are not a team that get a lot of their goals from a lot of possession. I think we're way better at like counterattacking and set pieces. That's like how we'll score most of our goals. The problem with us getting goals with possession is that Locatelli sucks. And so we don't have anybody that could fit outside of the box and break another team's defense with a pass. If you see Locatelli, he's always passing it to the side, to the side, to the side, and then he tries a long ball, which ends up on like the first row of the ad boards. And so that's the problem that we have right now. If it's not Yildiz or Conceição breaking down defenses from the angles, then our possession games sucks. So counterattacking is what we do best. And then just like in this match, set pieces. It's a great cross by Yildiz, perfect header from Cabal, you know, bright spots on the team, like McKenny. I love how he moves around and he just like creates passing options. Everybody else is just standing like a idiot watching. He's moving diagonally. I don't know why that's so hard to explain to people, but I don't see other midfielders doing that. When Coke Miners was playing in the midfield, he used to do that, but the problem is he's too slow. So he's not really getting away from his marker. Like he just run diagonally and somebody just trot along with him and don't even have to sprint. So I think that's kind of the difference there. But I think US now we're getting Bremer back. I think Spalletti
I
is
was gonna
gonna.
say, for me, that's the brightest spot for you. Yeah, you got the win, but Bremer is back,
Yeah,
and hopefully
whole
that
new
means
ball
that
game.
Cope Miners is not gonna play CB anymore.
He's not. No, no,
Because like
no.
you said, he's way too slow.
Yeah,
Seeing him trying to defend against Neres when
that
we
was
played
painful.
Napoli,
That
yeah,
was
it was
painful.
painful to watch. You can't expect
Yeah.
to contend for anything with having Cup Miners play CB.
No, no. Like he can't play there. And like, and like we saw this match, like Orsolini was also just like going around him like he wasn't even there. Orsolini was like, really? They're gonna, this is what you're gonna throw at me? Well, It's too easy.
and had some chances, right? Bologna did hit the crossbar as well, right? So it
Oh yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
like
yeah. That was a
they
good
didn't
shot.
create,
That was a good shot. Yeah, and also,
and it was from Cup Minor side.
yeah, of course, that's our weak spot. Like, Spalletti doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to play cup miners there. He wants to play with four defenders. He doesn't want to play that 3-man backline crap. Like, that's not his style of football.
Mm,
And he's doing it right now because of what he has, the resources he got. I firmly think he's gonna switch to Bremer, Lloyd Kelly, Kalulu on the right, and then he's gonna have Cambiaso play left side or Cabal, probably Cabal. And then it depends on the players that he's gonna have available, what he's gonna be doing up front. But I already see him moving towards that trend. He's already swapped to the 4-man backline in a couple of games during the match.
mm.
Um, we just gotta figure out what's gonna happen with the strikers too. But I think Jonathan David is kind of growing into a spot, but I feel like we really need like a bigger, stronger number 9. Jonathan David trips too much. And I've already seen 3 times this season where he has like a clear opportunity to score. He just trips over it, like with nothing, like on the grass. I feel like that's psychological. That's a psychological problem. But I don't know. Maybe the pressure is getting to him, but now Vlahovic is out for a while, so we need somebody to step up.
But they have been playing a little bit better under Spalletti. I would say Openda and and David. Well, at least Openda, in my opinion.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah, and with with Vlahovic being out, right, and Yildiz had some games where he showed a little bit of the spark that we saw at the beginning of the season, but
yeah.
didn't have
Well,
his best performance. Granted, he had the assists on
he had
this
the
match,
assist. Yeah,
but they need him to hopefully score some more goals with Vlahovic being out, especially and having David and Openda kind of struggling still to find the form that they had with their previous teams in the Bundesliga.
right.
But I think for Juve, for me again, my biggest thing was Bremer's back. Um, Hopefully, again, you guys can switch your your defensive line, maybe even switch to a back four,
Yeah,
a little bit better suited. But I think you'll turn it around, um, and we'll see you kind of fighting for those top spots moving forward. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the Champions League as well, right? Where
yeah,
Italian teams land. But I expect you to be fine. Maybe make some moves in the transfer market, whether it's Fratesi or somebody else. I think you would have some players that they can also get rid of to make some room in the roster and hopefully free up some salary as well to get a little bit of help at least in the midfield, right? Somebody to replace Locatelli. Um, Maybe another goal scorer if they depending on what they end up doing with Vlaovic.
yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what Juve does during the transfer market as well.
We'll see. There's not
Then
a
we
lot
had
of room to operate though, but we'll
mm,
see.
no, let's see, yeah, because you guys were pretty active on the previous market. We had
And
wrapping up the match day 15. We had Roma and Como coming from the defeat against Inter, 4-0 defeat against Inter, which was unexpected.
yeah,
Playing one of the most informed teams in Serie A right now in Roma. Roma getting the win with Wesley scoring a goal in the 60th minute,
he's
and
been
kind
playing
of
well.
what we're kind of been accustomed to seeing from Roma, right?
Mhm.
Solid in the midfield with Kone, solid with their defensive line under Gasperini, still creating opportunities, still not scoring a ton of goals. I think we talked about that a lot, right? Once they're able to figure
Yep.
figure it out offensively and score some more goals, they're going to be a lot harder to beat if
No, they don't
nobody
let
can
anybody
score more
score.
than one goal. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like they're so good defensively. You know what I mean? And usually 1, 2 goals gets them the win because they're so good defensively. They're so organized. I
That's one team
done an
that
amazing
probably
game.
would be a good fit for Blauwich as well, because I think they need just like a better number nine
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
with all the creative players like Dybala, right, Kone, Risole, all the different players that they with Wesley.
Yeah,
I think if Bailey's now back as well, right? So I think if they get a solid number nine, maybe they can score a little bit more goals. So I would be keeping an eye out for Roma. I think that's probably what Roma's going to be gunning for this transfer market. Again, I know that they've also been interested in Fratesi, another offensive player, but I think more of what they already have in just skillful midfielders that can score as well, but are not going to give you consistent goals like a solid number nine in the Serie A.
yeah. There's a couple of teams looking for one of those, but I honestly, I'm thinking like somebody like Moise probably will move from Fiorentina. I don't know during Christmas, but they're not gonna leave him there to go play Serie B next season. Um,
Yeah,
it's, it's,
that'll be sad. Hopefully, he's one of those players where if Fiorentina do decide to blow it up, right, he can find a good landing spot on a solid team.
he would be
Where
insane at Roma. Like that's what I kind of thought about him because if he like him at Roma, like he's right footed, so he could play with Dybala, sorry. The issue with Vlahovic is left footed too. So you play two strikers up front, and it's Dybala and Vlahovic. They're both left footed, which is a it makes it uncomfortable in terms of the flow of the passing
yeah,
and
but
the shooting.
Dybala again with injuries and stuff hasn't been playing consistently either. So
Right.
still, the other players, right, are kind of similar to Dybala. We're very skillful players, but they're not gonna lead the league in scoring.
No.
Right, so I think if they get someone like Vlahovic, like Moise Kean, just a solid number nine,
Yeah.
that can score goals, especially with good, talented players around them, around him, creating opportunities. Roma will be very dangerous. Surprising for Como because they have been playing great right now. Two back-to-back defeats, not only losses but not scoring any goals when they were scoring for fun prior to that. So interesting to kind of see the drop in Como. I hope it's just that they're going through a little bit of a
No, they're
phase
going through
and
a
they're
brutal
able to turn it
calendar.
around. But
That's all they're going through. They're going through like just a part of the calendar that has them playing like back to back against Inter and and Roma. They beat Juve. Just that was a big deal. It was just a couple match days ago. So I mean, I think Como are still doing well. I would have expected them to lose against Roma. I would have expected them to lose against Inter. The only reason some people thought they were going to do better is because they had been doing better than we
mm,
expected they were going to do. Like they were pretty impressive in the beginning. But I think as other teams start getting or their footing, um, you're gonna see the real difference in terms of like money, right? And the quality of the players that each team has. That's usually something that you see in the long run when because that's when the depth of your roster starts showing up. Como is not really that deep. Also, Como has a lot of veteran players that maybe are not gonna be able to show up every time, like Morata, for example. Um, and so, you know, uh, Roma should be able to beat them, but I think Como will be back to winning as soon as the calendar has them play anybody from the middle of the table below.
last match of 2025 is against Leche, right? Which
They'll
we'd
win that.
hope, right? It should be a win for Como.
Yeah,
Their opportunity to turn it around. Then they have Udinese, then they play Pisa, and then it gets a little bit rougher playing against Bologna, Milan,
yeah.
Lazio, right? It gets
Udinese
a little
is
bit tougher
tricky
from
as
there,
hell.
but
Now, Udinese
Udinese,
are
yeah,
not
very
tricky.
physical, right? Definitely a team that is not going to be a pushover team. I don't think Como they're going to find it easy to dominate possession with their Spanish Cesc Fabregas style of playing.
Yeah.
But I think at least right for their last match of the year against Leche, they should get the win and 3 points there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But Roma still in good shape, right? Still. battling for that number one spot. But good surprises in match day 15th. Glad to see Inter back at the top of the table again for Saragazzi.
Hmm.
And then we had the Super Copa kicking up in, I think, what, it's Saudi Arabia where they're playing, which pisses
Re-
me off. It's literally the Super Copa Italiana, and you're
I
not
know
playing
it's
it in
Qatar.
Italy.
I don't really
But
know where
money,
you're
money,
playing
money,
that crap.
money, money.
Yeah, I
It's all
just
about
hate
the
that they're
Benjamins,
doing that.
baby. That we,
Honestly,
we all we all know why it's being held there, why it's been held there for the past couple of seasons. Napoli played against Milan, 2-0 victory for Napoli. I thought this was going to be a better match on Milan's side. They did get create some opportunities, so it wasn't a lopsided matchup in Napoli's favor. David Neres getting on the score sheet. Holland scoring a second goal from a very tight angle, which, quite frankly, Magic Mike should have stopped with that tight of an angle, right? Being getting beat the way he did. Again, back to kind of his old ways from last year when he was having a couple of great matches. Had won the MVP in a couple of matches where Milan got some results. But props to Napoli, right? And this Lukaku wasn't playing. Right? Conte kind of trusted the guys that he's been relying on throughout all these injuries. Neres has been playing awesome, and Hoyland has been getting on the score sheet. It's going to be interesting now with Lukaku coming back. How Conte kind of moved things around because he kind of has sacrificed Politano a little bit, which he had been playing awesome, given the lack of Lukaku not being there, right? De Bruyne not being there to be able to field Neres, who has been doing awesome. So good call on Conte. But it's going to be interesting now once Lukaku is back 100% and in form and starting for them. What's the actual kind of formation that Conte is going to go with, and who he's actually going to have on the starting on the pitch?
yeah. Well, I bet it's gonna be Lukaku, De Bruyne. They're gonna play if they're healthy for sure.
They're definitely going to play, but is he going to play with two strikers? He's going to. I doubt he's going to
Oh,
play
it
with
makes them fit.
Lukaku by himself up front. So more than likely, we'll see. The thing is, does he keep kind of Lukaku and Neres kind of combination? Does he go with Hoyland and Lukaku? Hoyland has been playing well as well,
Two
and
big
if he
strikers.
does that, then you're changing the formation. So what are you going
Yeah,
to do with Neres, who has been playing awesome? Right, it's the reason why you've gotten the last couple of results, good results that you've been getting against the solid
yeah.
teams like Milan.
But I guess he could play Neres like he used to play Giaccherini. It's just you don't know how much Neres is gonna give you defensively, though. That's the thing. Neres is more of like a going forward type of guy.
But it was good, even though he didn't play good. Seeing Lukaku back on the pitch, he was the first one celebrating on both goals. So you could tell that they got a solid squad as well. And I think again, once they get all their players back, especially Anguissa, I think Anguissa is such a key
Yeah,
player for them.
he is.
But obviously, the likes of De Bruyne, obviously one of the best midfielders in the world, still.
Mhm.
So definitely a big loss as well. But once they're well now with Lukaku back, once they start getting all of their players back, and especially without depending on what happens, but it looks like they may yet again miss out on qualifying and going to the round of 16 in the Champions League. So it looks like they're gonna be able to focus on the Serie A as well. And look forward to hopefully seeing a Super Copa final of Inter versus Napoli. It's not going to be easy matchup for Inter tomorrow. Tomorrow against Bologna. Again, Bologna always a solid team, especially playing in Saudi Arabia the last couple of times that we've traveled over there. We haven't performed well. Lost against Milan the past couple of seasons. Tasted like shit, but hopefully we're able to get the result, and hopefully we see a good final between Napoli and Inter. And if it's Napoli Bologna, it's still going to be a good final. But I think, like you said, I think that's a little bit of an advantage for some of the other teams like Juve that are not don't have to make that long ass
Yeah,
travel to Saudi to play. to play in the Supercopa semifinal and final, right? And I think it's got to be on Monday. I would imagine the next match because I think it's a bit unfair to have a quick
Yeah,
turnaround for Inter and have them play again on Sunday. So I would imagine it's got to be like Monday or Tuesday. But let's see if we could hopefully bring the Supercopa home or if it's gonna be Napoli or
Inter's
Bologna.
next match is Wednesday.
And is that Serie A or is that the Supercopa final?
Serie A. So like this match day 16 of the Serie A is going to be played on this Saturday the 20th, the Sunday the 21st, and then the rest of the games, which are Napoli, Parma, Inter, Leche, Hell Ass, Verona, and Bologna, and then Como Milan, which is also a very nice game. Those are going to be played on the 14th and 15th of January. So this
Okay.
match day is going to be split in two halves. And then the teams that played on Saturday and Sunday don't play another Serie A game until, well, I guess the 27th. This is kind of weird. I think they just moved those matches to January because of the Supercopa, because
Mm-hmm.
the next match day is on the 27th. And then Inter actually plays Atalanta on the 28th. So
Yeah.
Inter's going to play match day 17 game before they play match day 16 game, which has been moved because of Supercopa. So Inter's next match day would be happening, at least for Serie A, would be happening on the 28th. So they're
Yeah.
not playing this weekend.
So a little bit of a break there, but I would imagine that somewhere in between there we gotta have the Supercopa Ital the Supercopa final if they do
Right,
make it.
right. And that's why they moved all those games, because the games they moved are basically Napoli, Inter, Bologna, and Milan. So
But not again, not a tough matchup against Bologna. Hopefully, Inter can get the win. Nice to see them back at the top of the Serie A table.
yeah,
Now we just need to find some consistency and finally Kiwu and Inter to start getting some wins against actual contenders, which has been their issue this season. They're just failing to get points against the top teams. They're doing their job against the middle table and lower table teams. We just need to make sure that we can get some wins against some of the teams that are actually contending for the title with Inter.
yeah.
But that's it.
If
Wrapping up another week, right?
Yep. Next
For
weekday, next match day, like the most interesting game to look forward to would be Juventus Roma on Saturday. That's on Saturday. And then Lazio Cremonese is also on Saturday, which should be an interesting match. We expect Lazio to win that one, even though Cremonese have been playing well.
mhm.
Um, there's also Fiorentina Udinese, which is kind of like a do or die match for Fiorentina. Vanoli came on, hasn't been able to make a lick of a difference. They're already talking about maybe he's gonna get sacked. That's terrible again for Fiorentina's situation. You know what's also terrible? We look at the Serie B table. Pescara, the team from our hometown, is actually the Fiorentina of Serie B, which sucks. They're dead last, trying to get relegated too. Um, I hope they do, and then I'm gonna try buy the team or something. Like that's crazy.
Like short kind of short match day, right? Because there are
Mhm.
only six matches
Six matches.
going on,
Yeah.
right? But still, we'll talk about those in the next episode. We'll
Yep.
also kind of wrap things up with the Super Copa, with Inter's match with Bologna tomorrow, and whoever makes
Fine.
it into the final against Napoli, and whoever gets crowned the champ for the season. But it was a good match day. Appreciate you guys joining us for another episode. Like and subscribe, leave comments below. We'll be back next week with another one for Serie Addicts, Marco Romano and Tito Yang. We appreciate everybody. Peace.
Out.